3, 2, 1. Hey, there we go. Hey guys, welcome back to this week's CertifiedTinter.com live stream here on the Tint Stuff channel. As we do every week from the past couple of weeks. We do these live streams. So basically what's going to happen is I come here every Thursday. I'm losing my train of thought right now. Come here every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. I air the new CertifiedTinter.com video here on the channel. We leave it up for about 24 or 48 hours, and then that video gets uploaded to CertifiedTinter.com. We have a whole library of videos on that site. So all sorts of training videos. So I saw somebody mention they've been waiting to see a windshield video. We got a bunch of them up there too already. So that is where we, me and Patrick from the Window Tinting Business Channel, that's where we catalog everything. So we get to go a lot more in depth, in detail with these types of videos. So this week we're going to be doing a windshield, as the title says, how to tint a windshield safely. So GeoShield and SoakShield, they both were kind enough to sponsor this video for the channel. But what's cool about this is during the normal videos that I shoot, there's usually a lot more information and stuff that I talk about. So this has a lot of those extra parts locked in there. So that's going to be up on the website, and we're going to be airing it today. So this is a long, rough cut version of that, and then I should have a regular YouTube video scheduled for Tuesday, which is going to be like the more YouTube, which is going to be like the more YouTube-centered video. So without further ado, let's go jump into that, and then of course we're going to get into Q&A. So welcome everybody, and let's get right to it. So with ceramic films growing in popularity, both GeoShield and SoakShield reached out to me to show how to tint a windshield safely in 2019. So as you can see here, we have a damn near invisible film. This is GeoShield's Pro Nano ceramic film. So the reason you would want to do something like this will do a lot of heat rejection, this will block out UV rays, and it's just a real comfortable driving experience. So if you don't want to change the look of your vehicle, but you want all those benefits, that's where you would go with something like this. And then also SoakShield, they are quite famous for their soak ropes and their microfiber dash towels. So everything that you need when you're installing on the inside to protect the interior electronics and stuff, so all that water's going to be running down the dash, and it's got to go somewhere. So you want to catch up as much as you can and then bring it out of the car so you don't damage anything. So we're going to go ahead and show you how to do that today. So first thing you're going to want to do is wipe off the windshield. So you want to go over the windshield for defects and stuff like that. So we have this little chip here, and you just want to make sure the customer is at least aware. They could spread. They usually don't, depending on how bad they are. However, you are putting a lot of pressure and heat on the glass when you're tinting it. So if it were to spread, you don't want to be held responsible or anything like that. So next up is this mirror. Ford mirrors are a little bit unusual. We need to pop this off before we go to tint it. So for these ones, you want to take like a little screwdriver or something, put a little pressure underneath it, and just kind of pull up until you wiggle it. And then there you go. It's just that easy. So now that this is all cleaned off and the mirror has been removed, next up we're going to set up the windshield for cutting later on. Now there's a couple of ways to do this. You can either use a stainless steel blade, which I definitely recommend that everybody use. You could also use like a Sharpie, mark your film, carry it to a glass board, and me in particular, I like to use this stuff here. This is my own glass aid. I'm gonna go ahead and line this whole window. Doubles up as a light, just a nice alternative cutting surface versus just cutting directly on the glass itself. Because with glass changing a little bit, getting softer, getting more fragile, you definitely don't want to be responsible for putting any unnecessary scratches into the windshield. So taking the extra step and making sure everything ends up safe is what this video here is all about. So then of course you're going to use your method of choice for prepping your windshield for the film to be shrunk. So we're going to be using the GeoShield Pro Nano 70%. As you can see, it's damn near clear. You're really not going to be able to tell the difference between this and an untinted windshield until you're sitting in the vehicle. And that's the whole point here. So now that the film is all shrunk, ready to be cut, like I said earlier, you definitely want to use a stainless steel blade for cutting on glass itself. I'm cutting on my glass aid here. You can also run a plastic button underneath the film and just kind of drag it along. But the whole point here is whether you cut on the glass or you take it to a glass board off the car, is you want to do as much as you possibly can to protect the glass. So when you're cutting, be sure to use a low angle, use light pressure, and just take it nice and easy for when you cut around it. You can just as easily get too ahead of yourself and then put a scratch somewhere in the glass, and then next thing you know, you gotta buy a whole new one, and there goes all your profit off of one job. I've never cut this stuff out. There we go. Ta-da! So I'm going to open this sucker up. This is a soak shield rope. This will help protect all the electronics at the bottom of the windshield. As all the water and stuff runs down, you definitely want to have something there to catch it. They were nice enough to send me one in my colors, which is sweet. So to set this in, it's real simple. And every windshield's going to be a little bit different. To place this in here at the bottom, you kind of want to just tuck it in a little bit. So I'll take like a bulldozer, or there's a lot of other just long tools that'll kind of just get it to the very bottom. You don't want to jam it too far down and compress it. You just need it to stay spongy so it'll soak up some of that water. So like right in here, I probably pressed it a little farther down than I should have. So just get it to nest right in the bottom, and that way the whole underneath of the glass is all protected, and any water that might run down there. From there, we're going to take one of their microfiber dash towels. Now they do have brand new ones. I did not get one for this video. I'm actually still running around with one of the original ones. These are super nice. The nicest microfiber towels that I've ever felt, and it's been a champ. I've used it on hundreds of windshields at this point over the course of the last year and a half, I think. So I like to try and get this real close. Almost use it like another soak rope basically, but since the edge doesn't soak up as much water as a soak rope, you definitely want to run around with both. You know, that way you're just covering as much stuff as you possibly can. So all this here, now I can spray and I can soak it down and not worry about the electronics. I'm just kidding. Just be careful. Still, you have to keep in mind how much water that you're going to spray on the windshield itself, but using soak shield ropes and dash towels by and large will keep vehicles from having any sort of electrical issues from any moisture that you're spraying on the glass. So now we need to clean our windshield. If you haven't done that already, I always like to clean everything right before installation. We're going to use a scrub pad for this. I like to clean it off, go over it with my hand once, see if I missed any like little stickers, adhesive, any grit, that type of stuff. Move everything over from one side to the other, or I'll go from middle out, but I'm always trying to like just sweep off my squeegee because I don't want to pick anything up off the side and then leave it in the middle. I got this pretty much all set to go, but I just want to make sure I didn't miss like a sticker or something. So one more clean off. One bottom swipe. And we should be good to go. There's a couple of ways to install the film. You can either pull the film and carry it in, or you can do what is called reverse rolling, and that's what we're going to be doing here, just because it helps keep everything as organized as possible. It's not as, what I think is clumsy. I really like this reverse rolling method. I'm not the greatest at it. I'm still learning, working on my technique, but I'm a lot better than I used to be. So being that I'm doing this on a car, I try and do this in halves, but like almost like quarters. Not so much the halves anymore. It's just kind of a lot of film to pick up all at once, and then it tends to get folded over on itself. So I like to kind of fold it and then pick it up in half. So now that that's all set, let's roll it up and get to the installing. So what's actually pretty nice about reverse rolling too is that it gives you a minute to kind of relax, because all the film is all wiped up, ready to go. Now, I usually just go ahead and throw it in, but for the sake of the video, let's go ahead and wipe this off. I don't have to worry about my pattern so much right now. It's all rolled up and protected. So we'll give this one last final spray because we're ready to go. And just start unrolling it onto the glass. So I like to get about halfway and then start with my liner. Try and shift it as much into place as you can, but you do have usually a couple things in the way. So this pulls out of here nice and easy. Nice. Love it when they go that smooth. Tuck this underneath. And we're pretty, and we're pretty much all settled. I left this tab here. You can definitely cut these out on the outside, but I just like to leave it all together sometimes and then just trim it out real quick as I go to do my install. There we go. There's that. So let's go ahead and squeegee this sucker out. Where's my squeegee? I found it. Start from the middle out. Or start from the middle and work your way out, I should say. This part is always the most scary because you want this, of course, the whole thing as clean as possible, but 100% everything spick and span in front of the driver's line of sight. If they have to stare at something while they're driving, they're coming back to get a new windshield. So this is all going out real nice. And of course we got that soak shield. You can see all this water kind of dripping down. It's got to go somewhere. So that soak shield's gonna pick all that water up. So when I get real close to the bottom, I'll just kind of take a step back and grab another tool. This is a side swipe. And just kind of finish this off. Cool. So we got one little guy on the side there. Not much as far as touch-up goes. Everything's laying down real well. We'll check it over on the outside. So we just got to touch up this little guy right here. I'm not shrinking it sideways. I'm just putting some heat on it to dry it out. And that's pretty much it. We're going to go ahead and wipe it off and check it over. Cool. So the windshield's all set. We're just doing cleanup right now. So now I get to pull my soak shield. One thing to note is as you go towards these lower corners, just be careful. It doesn't snag on the film. And then you can wrap all this up together. Look at that. Everything's all nice and clean. From here, it's just a matter of cleaning up all the glass, making sure everything is all set, and then we're all good to go. So we have the windshield all set and tinted. This is in, again, they're 70%. You can't even hardly tell it's on there, but it's great for heat rejection and UV, of course. So big shout out to GeoShield for sending over their film and sponsoring this video, along with Soak Shield. So this is all the water that was caught along the bottom edge, as you saw on the glass while I was tinting it. This is definitely a lifesaver for protecting your electronics and stuff like that. So big shout out to Soak Shield as well for co-sponsoring this video. And thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. No. Okay, hey, I'm copying a link really quick. I had a lot of people asking about kits and where to get some film. Copy link, copy link, copy link. Oh, come on. Stupid. Okay, so I'm gonna post a link in the chat. The link, okay, it's being weird right now. Just let me pull that back up. Oh, come on. Here, let me do something else. But anyways, while I'm working on that, so people were asking about kits. Just want to say real quick, thank you to both the sponsors for that video, both GeoShield and Soak Shield. So SoakShield.com and GeoShieldUSA.com. Those are the sites that you can go to learn more about those products. The GeoShield film is also available on the kit website. That's why I bring it up, tintzoom.com. They recommended this to me. This is the, oh, okay, here we go. Let me post that. All right, so it's in the chat right now. That is the link to the kit website where you can get GeoShield kits and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that film, they do their ceramic and they do some other films as well. So be sure to check that out. And I just wanted to check out the chat. I'm losing my train of thought. But yeah. So I also saw another question in the chat real quick. Somebody was asking about which side the liner is. So the method that I use for installing that windshield is called reverse rolling. So you roll it up into a tight roll, and then you go on the inside and you unroll it. And the little magic about that is as you're unrolling it, the liner flips onto basically the other side, and then as you're unrolling it, the liner sticks to the back side of the film, so then you can just pull it off. It's really, really nifty. It's a little magical. A technique that definitely took me a minute to learn. Still working on it, actually. But some error on my computer right now. Reconnected. Okay. So hopefully nothing just drastically shuts down on me. Okay, so if you guys got any questions, be sure to leave them in the chat, and I'll try and read through them. I was trying to follow it as we went through the video today. I wish, what was it? Oh yeah, I wish we had more tinting shops locally. The cheapest place here is still like $250 for a full job. That's kind of the prices around here in the Metro Detroit area. I don't want those prices to go down. And the nice thing is, if you learn how to tint, then you can make some good money doing it, and then have a great career out of it. So the farther rule of thumb, usually the farther down south that you go, the lower the prices are, because there's a lot more competition. Here up north, prices are a little bit higher, so that's just kind of by and large why you're going to see some drastic price differences, though, from like southern states versus northern states, because here in Michigan we have to deal with stupid cold weather. Oh, I hate it. Manny or Maddie, whichever is spelled, taught me a few things when I was working for his dad. Tint on, who are you? Obviously somebody that I worked with for a little bit, but that's cool. Yeah, I worked with a mess of other people too. Over at my, I didn't shoot the video at that shop this week, but last week's video was shot at my dad's shop, Auto Tint City in Dearborn Heights. Trying to get on some heat rejection films. Oh yeah, I should talk about that a little bit. So the GeoShield Pro Nano film that I featured in this video, they have been a sponsor before of another video, shrinking ceramic film on a windshield. So that's on the YouTube channel. It's a solid film, really good for shrinking. It's it's just a really, really good film. It competes with the best, decent price, so definitely check it out. As you can see in that video, they go as light as like a 70%. They may even go a little bit lighter, but typically you'll see around 70% all the way down to 5%. And with ceramic films, the lighter films will block out damn near just as much heat as the darker ones. Really like the same amount of IR, but as you get into the darker shades, those are going to block out more visible light, and then, you know, some just more rays along with that. So I'm a big fan of heat rejection film. I have been since day one. If any of you guys have seen the heat box demonstration, that's like the easiest way to try and sell it. It's still not the easiest of things to sell, just because by and large a lot of people don't even know that there's a difference from a low-end film to a high-end film. So as we try and, you know, raise customer awareness in general, when somebody comes into your shop, you know, you start spitting out all this information about different films, heat rejection, all this, and sometimes it's overload for them. So when you take the heat box, you put it in front of them, put their hand is like, this is what this film does, and then you put a basic film in front of it and show the difference. So a lot of times that just triggers something in their head. It's you know, just make a physical reaction to something. It's just way more understandable than throwing like numbers and paper at them, because a lot of the time they just think that you're spitting out gibberish. So I always like the heat box as a real down-to-earth way to try and sell somebody some film. I'm trying to get some heat rejection film. What do you recommend? Well, for this I gotta recommend GeoShield. They help sponsor this video, and they really are a very, very good company. They've been around in the heat rejection game ever since it's came out. So in the early days, it was called GeoShield Dark Matter, and now they have rebranded to Pro Nano. So as that's just kind of evolved, the technology started out very basic. It was definitely a lot more cloudy in the early days, and in a sense, as they refine, basically what they do is they take ceramic particles and they make them teeny tiny nano particles. So you hear nano ceramic. That's exactly what they do. They make them so small, and then they layer them in the film. And the smaller they make it, the clearer the film, and that's the technology that has been evolving over the years. So it's getting better, and it still continues to get better. Not as clear as a dyed film, so you can have like a dyed ceramic. So like, I should say a couple of things. Ceramic only gets so dark, so a lot of times you have to get your color from something else. So ceramic typically goes down, I think it goes down to like a 50 or 40%. From what I've heard, there could be, some wiggle room in there, but if you need more color or to offset, whatever color the ceramic is, you need, like, to darken up more, a lot of times they'll either add dye or they'll add carbon. So the carbon particles are very similar to ceramic particles in the fact that they make them also very teeny tiny nano carbon particles. So you have nano carbon films, nano ceramic carbon films, like nano ceramic films, and the nano carbon ceramic films. So they mix a bunch of stuff in there, but you'll have two basic differences. So you'll have either nano ceramic film where they put just dye and ceramic, and then they'll also do nano carbon ceramic where they'll put little carbon particles in with ceramic particles. That'll usually be a little bit more hazy. So yeah, that probably was not the best explanation. There's yeah, I ramble a lot too, so sorry. What soap would you recommend for slip solution? That's a good question. If you just need to go pick up something quick, I'll always recommend like baby shampoo. I use the lavender stuff, but the gold stuff works great too. Dawn is also a pretty good one. A lot of people like Joy, so like I literally have it right here, Dawn. And then also there's a couple of pretty popular tint specific solutions. Excuse me. So you have Tint Slime. So it comes in a couple of different versions. You have Tint Slime Ultra, which is orange in color, as you can see. This stuff is a little bit more slick. It says 4 times the slime, so this is their original formula, the green formula. This stuff's just a little bit more tacky, and then they made a slipperier one. This one's more similar to like a baby shampoo. So the difference between those real quick is something like a tint slime, it's going to dry clear, it's going to evaporate quicker, it's going to clean up easier. So I would recommend using something like that, but if you need to get something just in a pinch, to use, baby shampoo is completely fine. People have been using it for years, but it's definitely a little bit more greasy, leaves a lot more smears behind, suds up a lot more, and as as the solution evaporates, there's still like a little bit left in between the film and the glass. It doesn't dry completely clean. I haven't really had any issues that I can narrow down to say that's because of the baby shampoo, but it's just something to keep in mind. Also, there is Fusion All-Type. I have to mention them too. They're definitely making way in the industry too as well. They're a really good slip solution. A little more sudsy than Tint Slime, but still definitely a good version, or a good slip solution. I can't ever get my back window done without bubbles. It's practice, man. I've been doing this for over 10 years now. First car took me about 6 hours, but that was like with training with somebody. So I like literally was, when I was first training with somebody, they literally just had me watch for a couple weeks before I could even touch a car. And after that, it was still just mistake after mistake. So it's just a huge learning curve, and you just have to put a lot of time and effort into it. Practice, watch videos, ask questions, go practice again. You'll always learn something from watching somebody. come back and try it more. Just basically immerse yourself into it as much as you can and just keep searching, finding answers for everything. So certifiedtinter.com, I'll mention it a bunch of times. It's our training website, mine and Patrick's. I'll just pull it up right now because if it is, I'm just trying to load. Because I'm streaming. So we have a bunch of videos here on the site. So here's our video section. You go to our video library. We got a bunch of videos. So this is all, you know, we've been doing live streams for a little while on the website, and yeah, just a lot of good information there. Just wherever you can. The Facebook groups are a great place for information. YouTube channels are a good place. You know, there's so much information out there. It can sometimes get confusing, but try a couple different things. Try and stick to one formula, and then just rinse and repeat over and over. I use Caprice hair shampoo down here in Mexico. I just don't have just make sure you don't have any conditioner. That's actually really funny. Hair shampoo. You know, I don't see a reason why any other types of like hair shampoos and stuff like that wouldn't work. Just some of them might leave more stuff behind. But yeah, the only reason I think people use baby shampoo is because it's been recommended so much. Like somebody figured out it worked really well, recommended it a bunch of times, and to be honest, I didn't try a whole bunch of options. I don't go to the store and just pick up soaps off the shelf. Maybe I will for a ridiculous video, but yeah, that's that's funny. Hair shampoo. I actually have not heard anybody use that before, but it makes perfect sense. What's the average time to tint a sedan with hand cutting when you're new? That's a good question. My first car took me 6 hours, and I think I was easily 4 or 5 hours after that, and it depended on the car. There's sedans that are going to be easy. There's sedans that are going to be difficult. A lot of modern sedans are going to be much easier than stuff like in the late 90s, early 2000s. Stuff like that kind of sucks, and the farther back you go, the more pain in the ass it is. You get old cars with dirty seals, really curved windows, and old felt that likes to fall apart, so that kind of stuff sucks. But just try and focus on technique and just keep at it. Rinse and repeat. Tint your own car over and over again. Focus on what steps you're taking. Try not to do too much repeat stuff. So in last week's live stream, I talked a lot about going from taking 6 hours on a car to going down to 1 hour car, and I showed that in a shop environment, but I haven't shown that yet in just me mobile by myself tinting a full car. So I should do that soon in another video to give you a better idea of what that would look like. So me personally, I'm about an hour and a half comfortably on a car, and I can speed up if I need to. But that's usually a good place to definitely shoot for. I'd say easily under 2 hours is where you're going to want to be as like a full-time installer. But you know, if you take longer, then you just kind of need to charge more. But when you're new, like you definitely just, you have to take your time to try and get stuff right. But try not to be overly picky is my one good piece of advice for that. So you could tint a window a million times over. There's always going to be a little something that you don't like, and by and large people just don't see it if it's small, if it's not that big. You know, human nature is for customers to go up to the car, look at the driver's door, maybe quick walk around the car, but if their initial impression is like they go up to the car and they like how it looks and you presented it in a good way, if they look at like the driver's door and everything looks good from there, like they're just gonna get in the car and drive off. And then as soon as they see something in that driver's door, then they start nitpicking the rest of the car. But that's kind of like the rule of thumb for me, is really like focus on making that the best, and everything else is just, I'm not saying do a bad job on the rest of the car by any means, but just like don't pick apart a job to where you start to destroy it, or where you're taking an hour and a half just on touch-ups and stuff, because you can easily get so involved in making something perfect that you end up screwing it up. So I've seen that happen. I've done it myself. So just you try and move forward as best you can. The more you practice, and you always realize that you're gonna get to a point where you're always gonna get better with every car that you do. So do the best you can with the time you have. Move on to the next one, and just keep focused on getting better. I know that was ridiculously long-winded, but yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in that question, really. Do I have distilled water in my solution? No, I usually just fill up from whatever sink that I'm at. I have a, what do I have? Like a 200 mesh filter at the end, but I bet you if I twisted it off, it would be scuzzy. Yes, there's definitely dirt and shit that can come from your tank and build up and whatnot. But by and large, a lot of the stuff is just technique. So I've got one of the videos on Certified Tinner. I used to clean windows with just a scraper blade, like not even a razor blade, like a gator blade. I'd feel for like little hard pieces or anything that might be stuck to the window, but by and large, there's not a whole lot to it as long as your technique is quick and pretty straightforward. Not like super fast or anything, but just very direct. So as you put the film on, you're not putting it into a seal and then dragging it back out and then putting it back in and dragging it back out. Because no matter how many times at that point that you cleaned it, you're going to get shit that comes from the sides and whatnot. So wipe off your top edge, squeegee everything to the side, sweep it down, install the film in almost like a sweeping motion. So you kind of like spread it outwards and then just, and then you're done. Jeff says, I've noticed clarity is not as good. I've noticed the clarity is not as good as a ceramic. What film? Oh, I thought I read that wrong. I thought you were gonna say the clarity is not good on a ceramic, and that depends. Just straight up, like if that was the comment, then the clarity on a ceramic is, by and large, it's not going to be as clear as just a dyed film because they add stuff to it. Those are those ceramic particles that they add to the film, where just a straight up dyed film is going to be crystal clear because it's only dye. But the difference between the dye and the ceramic is blocking out heat, is doing more for you. So you kind of have to weigh your pros and cons. If your goal is heat rejection and you don't mind just a little bit less clear of a film, then by and large you go with a ceramic, especially if you don't mind paying the extra. But the less expensive stuff, of course, is going to be dyed, but you just don't get that performance with it. So yeah, here's that. The chat skips for some reason. I don't know why. I'll be reading a comment and then all of a sudden like skip down, so I got to do something about that. Have you ever installed an exterior windshield banner? Oh, okay, so it's a vinyl. I have, actually. I'm not super great with vinyl. I don't have a lot of experience, but I have noticed a couple of things. If the vinyl is a wet application, you're going to want something that'll dry out the vinyl quicker. So if you're using, like I'd use soapy water, but I would add a little bit of alcohol to it so it'd dry faster. And then that allowed me to take my time with it, get it really, really smooth, but you have to give it time to set up. So if you wet the adhesive, it's not going to ruin the adhesive. You just have to let it dry. So if it starts to peel up or something like that, just let it sit, let it dry, and then you should be good to go. But yeah, you definitely can. The part that made installing vinyl difficult for me when it was like a wet application was like the backing. If the backing was like a real tough backing, and you go to peel the letters or whatever you're installing, a lot of times it would just want to rip it off. So it would be better to do a dry application. By and large, I think most vinyls are probably dry application. But as a tinner, it was easier to do wet because then I could just lay it out and then squeegee it and whatnot. But I'm not super proficient with vinyl though. Top 3 brands of tint we should buy. Ooh, I gotta rate them now. Well, I'm running around with Avery Dennison NR. I really like that film. From there, ugh, you know, they're all really good. Like, well, not every one of them is really good, but a lot of the higher tier brands, so like Lumar's really good, but they're expensive. I hear really good things about Suntech, but not so much their carbon. I don't know. There's like one low end Suntech film that I hear not so great things about. Scorpion's pretty popular. ASWF, I hope they cleaned up their stuff. I think GeoShield, they're definitely up there. They're really good. I'm trying to think. There's like, it's skipping my mind right now. I hear not Madico. Oh yeah, Solar Guard's higher tier brand. They're pretty good. They have a lot of 1 mil films, and I don't know why, but their Galaxy is a 1.5 mil. They're supposed to be really good. Solar Guard, their Sun Guard, not so much. God, just oh yeah, Expel. People really like Expel right now too. I hear a lot of good things about them. And there's a bunch more brands out there. 3M is a top tier brand, but I think they're a little overpriced for what they are. I should get a list together. I gotta write them down and just go through and rate them, because like I stay so focused on what I'm using, and then a lot of times other stuff will skip me by because there's so many different brands out there. There's a lot of Reeboxers too, which I'm not saying there's anything bad about a Reeboxer, but it's just like you kind of, oh yeah, Global's another one that's supposed to be really good too. But yeah, there's like, how do I say this? There's a bunch of different brands that they rebox their film, and that's not to say they're bad, but you don't know when it changes, and that's like some of the less expensive films. They can change just like that, and they won't tell you. So you'll be installing it one day, it'll have a particular color, a particular feel, then you'll open up another box, and next thing you know, they'll call it the same thing, but you'll be like, something's up here, this doesn't look like what I used to have. You call them, and they'll be like, oh yeah, we just adjusted the formula. Well, I have a bunch of cars with that film on it, and now the stuff that I'm putting on it doesn't match it anymore. So that really is the part that seems to suck the most from like a Reeboxer, but they do, like, some of them have great customer service and stuff like that too. So there's pros and cons to all of them. How do you get rid of the little bubbles? Usually just redo the window, because it's most likely dirt specks, and that's going to be your biggest enemy with window tinting. It's just, you can touch them up a little bit, put a little heat on the outside, and like take a card, like, excuse me, not quite this one. This one's a little tough at the edges, but the idea is the same. So you'd heat on the outside and try and push the air and basically push the dirt speck into the glue and force the air out. That's what you're doing with touch-ups, but you'll still have a speck there. But yeah, best way is just redo it, unfortunately. And what? Oh, this comment's great. I'm gonna buy a bunch of soap and relabel it Tintches. Nice. There's oh god, what was it? Oh, there's already some people that are relabeling their own. So yeah, that's a thing. People just go buy stuff from Home Depot and shit and relabel it and try and sell it. Okay, so I think we're gonna give it a couple more minutes if you guys got any more questions. I'm definitely here to answer them. I'm trying to go back to see if there's anything that I missed. Any tips on how to remove rear window film without damaging defroster lines? Yeah, the best way would be a steamer. Start with that. So I have a little shark steamer that I got from Walmart, $50 one. I honestly didn't think it would last, but it's been going on 3 years now, and it's still working great. So that's a good one to get. There's also the little Jiffy steamers. They're a bit more expensive, like $250 I think for one of those. Tinners really like those too as well, but you're going to steam the inside of the back window. Heat and moisture is your friend for removing window film. So you're just going to warm it up and peel it back and do the best you can to put a little moisture on the glue side and the tint side and just kind of peel it back. If it does leave glue behind, run to the dollar store. I've heard Awesome is really good. I've heard Awesome is awesome. I've heard there's a adhesive remover called Awesome that I hear a lot of good things about. I haven't tried it myself though, but at this point I have to recommend it just because I've heard it so much. I need to go try it. And then also ATR and Fusion Epic Orange are really good adhesive removers that you can find at all the tool websites and stuff. I tinted 2 front windows on my 77 Beetle yesterday. I got dirt on my film. I agree. The older the car, the car with dirty seals. Oh, sorry. I agree. The older the car with dirty seals, pain in the in the culo. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a fun car to do. A 77 Beetle. Probably not as curved as some of the more modern ones, but definitely like all those old seals. They're either old rubber or old felt, and the old felt ones will disintegrate as you spray them. You can try taping them before you spray them, but even then the felt will stick to the tape, and then the tape will start to just like fall off, and it's just a tough time all around. All those old cars, I would charge way more, but even then I don't necessarily get my time back from them, because I could tint 2 cars well before I can tint an old car, but it depends on what the older car is. I just always like to take my time with classic cars and stuff like that. They're just a whole different breed. Sledgehammer is awesome. Dude, I have not tried it yet. I'm not saying anything bad about it. There has been so much Facebook drama over that little squeegee, though. It's unreal. If you guys watch here on the YouTube channel and don't know of the Facebook groups, my group, Tint Stuff / Tinternet, there's the Window Tinting Business group, and there's a couple of other ones like Window Film Pros and Window Tinters United. So those are really good resources for people to answer questions, experienced tinter, discussing everything window tint. So go check those out for sure if you have never heard about them. But the Sledgehammer, if you ever hear that little squeegee, that gets talked about on there, and there's just so much drama around it. There's it's just admins being admins in some of the groups. Alrighty, so we're going to leave this up, I guess, just a couple more minutes, and if not, we're going to shut things down. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me tonight. It was a really good turnout tonight. I think we peaked at like 80 people tonight. That's stellar. Does it even tell me? 90 people live concurrently. That's awesome. It's no ninja by any means, but hey, I'll take it. Are darker tint spots more notable than lighter tints? I don't really understand that question. If you could just elaborate a little bit more. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm on the Tinternet page. A lot of helpful folks on that page. Thank you. That's my group. I take pride in that. Yeah, there are a lot of good people in that group, and it's really just no drama. If there's anybody that like stirs shit up, I kick them out. It's just don't have time for it. You know, we got I don't think I've had to do any of that lately. I just kind of boot advertisement posts if they get excessive and stuff, but other than that, it's been great. So a lot of good people there. It's all like, the whole point I made that one was because of my YouTube channel, because I would comment in a lot of the other groups. I'd share my video or something, and then I would just get completely trashed. So I'm like, screw this. I'm making my own. And hey, we're up to like 3,200 people now. So that's cool. I use isopropyl alcohol mixed with slip solution and a black trash bag to remove black window film. Yeah, that'll work. And if you put like, I've heard 409 works. I've heard people use adhesive removers. The main thing is just like with the trash bag method. So real quick for removing film, if you cut like basically a plastic bag and cut it so it fits the back window, and then you spray it with like a slip solution or 409 or something, and then put the bag over it, it locks that moisture against the film, and then the moisture starts to basically seep into the film and just loosen up the glue, and it stays, you know, humid and a lot of moisture, so it'll peel off a lot easier. Thank you, Jeff. Awesome show tonight. Yeah, it is. I appreciate it. Uh, Good God. Is there a huge difference between ceramic tints and dyed tints? Yes, a massive difference. So dyed films are just going to be literally like ink dye. So there's every manufacturer has their own different formula for their own ink dye. That's why there's so many different like hues and colors to window film. Like just a 20% smoked film, you look at every manufacturer and every film will look a little bit differently across the board. And then when you get into the ceramics, they take little ceramic particles and they layer them on the in the film, and then they also have to color it with either an added dye or carbon. So those are the two popular methods. So the ceramic is going to give you heat rejection. So basically what that means is infrared radiation from the sun. So you're sitting in your car, the sun hits your glass and tries to go through it. And the IR ceramic layer basically absorbs a lot of that, and then it's supposed to radiate outwards, but it definitely can still radiate inwards. But as you're driving, that wind sweeping past your window will dissipate a lot of that heat. So it just makes a much more comfortable driving experience. So tinting with just a 20% dyed film still is really, really good. The color stable stuff will last longer, and there's usually a little bit more performance with some of the nicer ones. But it isn't until you get into carbon and ceramic that you really start noticing like, oh, I got a Windows update. Where you start noticing like actual heat rejection. So like an infrared bulb, you put like a piece of film with glass in the middle, and you can definitely tell the difference between one to the other. Highly, highly recommend it. If you're interested in it, I would spend the extra money just to even see what it's like. Go to a shop, get your front two doors done in it. Like a lot of shops will tint the back of it and dye it if you want, and do just the front two doors. And like it's just cool to see the difference between not having it and having it, because I swear for a lot of people, once they have it, they don't want to go back to not having it. So it's a really cool film. So I have a convertible with a filling slash vinyl rear window. Is there a product that will evenly tint that surface? Ooh, so like the old, or not the old, yeah, the vinyl rear windows, like on a Jeep and stuff like that, yeah. Um, no. I've heard some people will put taillight film on it because it's like a more tint flexible too, but like it's just a different film. But I haven't ever heard anything good come from that. If anybody has any suggestions on that, I've never heard anything good. I just tell people I can't tint it, because if you put regular window film on it, it'll like crinkle up and it'll do all sorts of bad things. You need something flexible that'll stick to it. But Johnson has a 10%, that is for plastics. Lux has a film also. Okay, look into those then. I actually have not ever heard that, so I'm not super familiar with Johnson, so I would take his recommendation. He's been tinting, Jeff's been tinting for a long time, so check those out. Yeah, I've never had any good results myself. Like I've never really tried much, but I haven't it's never been a topic I've really seen much discussed either, so I didn't know of anything. But yeah, go look into those for sure. Oh yeah, the garage. It's done. The garage is done, and I'm like, So I made those videos and I was all pumped up, and then I procrastinated, and then I let it sit, and I still haven't pulled any cars into it. It's done. I want to make a video with it, but YouTube's funny. The longer you go, like, you get out of a groove, and once you're out of it, it's hard to get back into it. So I was doing some vlogs, I was doing the garage shit, and I want to get back into that. I've just been busy enough with other stuff right now, between just shooting videos and regular work. But okay, so people were also asking me about Lexan. Is it? Oh no, it's down in the garage. So I am building something in the garage right now. It's like it's this, but with 4 lights. So I'm gonna be doing a what do I say? Like a fading test, basically. So I'm gonna be putting a really cheap film. I'm gonna be putting Lexan on 2 different panes, and then I'm also gonna be putting a solid color stable film. So 4 panes of glass with 4 different films. 2 of them Lexan, 1 cheap, 1 color stable, and then we're gonna put these bulbs on it, and we're gonna see what the hell's gonna happen in about a month. So I was shooting the beginning of that. I wasn't super happy with the way it was turning out, because I kept like just trying to speak, stumbling all over my words and shit like that, and it's just like, ugh, whatever. And it turned out weird. I'm still working on it. I built a shelf, put like picture frames basically on it for the glass and stuff like that. So it's like, it'll work, but I was gonna like show the garage a little bit and talk about it, and it's just something I gotta get to. So that I wanted to have that up on Tuesday actually, but it's probably gonna be another week or so before I get that all worked out, because the Lexan review is definitely gonna happen, but I have to put it through its paces. I have to put it on my car. I have to drive around with it. I have to shrink it on some hard back window. I just have to get some thoughts and opinions of it, and then also I really wanted to see if I could get the color to fade, and if I put it on this test and the color doesn't fade after like a month, then I would say it's definitely much better than a very cheap film. So I'll get more into details in that when I actually come out with a video, but good God, it's hard to get your ideas onto video. So there's a lot of things that you're like, oh, that would be so cool, and then you go to shoot it, and it's like, I'm getting better with it the more I practice, but it's definitely like, I have practice with vlogging and stuff like that, but there's definitely like an art to storytelling, and it's just not something that I'm very good at. I'm better at just doing tutorials, how-tos, and start to finish stuff. But it's just like, if I'm not sure where to go with it, or something takes too long, that's when I start like, it just gets tricky for me. So working on it. Hopefully we'll have something soon though. You the man, Matt. Thank you, Burns. I appreciate it. Is there a 10% ceramic film that you know of? I have 8% tint permit. Oh, you might want to, if you put 10% on glass, it actually might meter a little bit below that. Not many, there's got to be some company that makes a 10%, but by and large what you're going to see is like 15%. So shoot for 15 and then put that on glass, and then really if you take a 15% film layered on glass is not completely transparent. So even so, though, like a tint company will sell you like a 15% tint, and like, I want my windows tinted at 15%, so they'll layer it on there, but they don't necessarily always take into account the percentage of your glass. So when you combine those two together, it might be it'll be darker than 15% for sure. So I would shoot for like a 15%. They're definitely a lot more common, so you'll be able to find something like that a lot more easier than a 10%. All the big manufacturers seem to have a 10%. So look for that. And then also, if you're getting it tinted somewhere, or you're doing it yourself, you can verify it with a tint meter. So just take a little like sliver of it, put it up against the glass, like tint the little piece of glass, and then put the meter over it, and just see what it meters at, because that's what a police officer would do. I put some Black Magic tint on a 2007 Impala. which I have bedlined the whole. Wait, what? Which I have bedlined the whole thing. Wait, you did bedliner on your Impala and put a bull bar on it, as well as tinted the headlights and taillights and an LED. Dude, you went all out on that. And 5% and 15. Dude, that is on an '07 Impala. I've seen trucks bedlined, but I have not seen an older Impala that has been bedlined. That's some crazy stuff going on there. I got my two front side windows and a little window for 244 Canadian Lumar ceramic tint. Is this a good deal? Ooh, that's expensive. So you're in Canada, so everything's going to be a little bit more expensive in Canadian rubles, I think. So I couldn't tell you for sure, but what I can tell you is Lumar ceramic is a very expensive film. So like Lumar CTX, and I know they have lines that go up from there if you're a Formula One dealer. If I converted that, it's definitely up there. But it's just Lumar is one of those big prestigious brand names. So I wouldn't say you got a great deal on it. I'd say you probably paid like full retail for it, but since it's in Canada, like I have to do a conversion. I'm not entirely sure, but I know around here we'd be like ceramic for front two windows. We're usually about $150 for ceramic here in the US. So do the conversion on that. I'm not sure what it is offhand, but yeah. And well, where are we at? We're at 10:36. All right. Wait, I gotta read this. I was gonna wrap up, but I gotta read this real quick. Oh yeah, I love my Impala. I wanted to do as long as you embrace it. That's what I like. Oh yeah, I love my Impala. I wanted to douchebag it, and people laugh at me, but I drive on back roads, so it's good. I have done all the work myself, and I might buy an '06 Impala SS. You're awesome, man. I love that you embrace it and you're just like, yeah, I want to do that. And then you did it all yourself too. That's cool. Alrighty. Well, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up. I appreciate all you guys for coming out, hanging out with me, watching the videos. We will be back. I will be back same time next week, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this channel. And then be sure to check out Window Tinting Business YouTube channel, Patrick. He does his live streams every Tuesday, 9:30 p.m. too. So we alternate back and forth. These live streams are for the CertifiedTinter.com website, where we have a lot more training videos and stuff like that. We've been working really hard uploading those to the site. A lot of good information there. A lot of tools that are available there too. So these are all our training tools and stuff like that, just basic stuff. So if you're looking to get into window film and stuff like that, we just sell really basic stuff here. Really, like, good for learning, but there's definitely better pro alternatives. They're just much more expensive. And then we also have training film that's up there too as well. So if you guys want to clown around with some film and you're getting into it but you don't want to spend a lot of money, we have that too available as well. Also, big shout outs to both the sponsors, GeoShield and SoakShield. So SoakShield.com and GeoShieldUSA.com. I'm going to have dedicated links in the regular upload that's going to be on Tuesday for that video. And yeah, the tint zoom, I'll copy and paste that one more time in the chat. So GeoShield told me about tintzoom.com, where you can purchase their film in pre-cut kits, and then they also have the link in there. The link in there is for just a bulk piece for a windshield, so you can still get that 70% that you saw in the video if you guys are interested. They have it in a bunch of different shades too as well. So thanks y'all for watching. I appreciate you hanging out, and I will catch you guys next week.